I'm just getting a little fresh air.
I'm fine, whatever you leave it, any way you do it, it's all good.
Yesterday's subject was a quote of Yossi that says that washing and what else? Washing and kishut and adorning oneself, woman. So it's not considered nefesh. It's not considered self-affliction. The more question is it considered at least is it something that would bother the husband?
Sure.
Rechitza and kishut.
Why not?
Question: does it bother the husband, or he's okay with
any
it?
normal person wouldn't bother.
Okay, that's the Gemara's question. We didn't know. The Gemara said machlokas amaram. At the end, the Gemara brings down from a brisa that Rabbi Yossi muchat that Rabbi Yossi holds that it is something which bothers the husband. I don't know enough of Agdor what's called bothering the husband, but here the Gemara says it is, and the Gemara would arrive from Rabbi Yossi. Just in the top line, the Gemara said the man that says that it's not considered in a nefesh. It said a mashal about a foxhole. You don't find that a fox dies in its own hole. So when a husband having relations with his wife, so it's not going to bother. That's the Gemara's mashal, whatever that means. So some talk about if she doesn't cut any hair, that might be interfering over there. But just was wondering what's a foxhole, what's so unique about a foxhole that's the mashal. So I just looked around a little bit, find out the fact that the average, maybe this is what the Gemara means, that the average opening of a foxhole is 10 centimeters. It sounds that he squeezes into a small little opening. I don't know what he has. Inside the hole might be a big den, but the entrance is 10 centimeters. So that might be what the Gemara is using as a mashal. That's a chiddush that the hole is that the fox knows what he's doing. The fox, even though he has such a small hole, that's probably why the army calls also the foxhole for the soldiers they go into. They just dig a little thing just enough to protect themselves, and that's a tiny hole. So that's probably what the Gemara's mashal is about a foxhole over there. So maybe that sheds a little bit light on the mashal of the Gemara. But afterwards, the Gemara brought a ride. The main point of the Gemara was to bring a ride. This is what it says in the blue over here.
Sorry, is that something that have to do with kishut?
Kishut, the Gemara explains that it doesn't only mean, the Gemara understands the Rishonim saying it doesn't only mean adornment and jewelry, it also would mean personal grooming, and it would mean also having marital relations, whatever, in the genital area or whatever would be necessary. Even if she doesn't, even if it's a mess over, he's okay. He knows how to. He's okay with it. He knows how to get his way around.
Okay.
The Gemara would arrive from this brisa just to point out the blue. The blue is the thing what the Gemara would arrive from over there. It says about shlo ekhol b'shlo efkos, all kinds of makeup. So if she makes such a neder, it says yapam mishum dvarim shebeno leveina. That right that he has to nullify this because it's things that have to do with him. And this brisa, the Gemara says, is of Joseph is the contra Rabbanan, it's even stronger. Contra Rabbanan, this is considered inu nefesh. After the Gemara said, Shalom echas v'lo v'skashi, the contra Rabbanan is inu nefesh, and he could absolutely permanently nullify it. This brisa goes to contra Yossi that it's not considered inu nefesh, but still it says it is considered vam shebeino leveina. So we brought a right to Rabbi Barava that even if Yossi says that not washing and not adorning one herself is not considered of self-affliction, but it is considered vam shebeino leveina. This was a contra Yossi. At the end, I stopped yesterday a couple of lines earlier because I didn't know how to get through it. So we can start again from Montana. That's 3, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. The brisa ended off. We'll just go back to the brisa to figure out, just because we need that for today's Gemara. The brisa continued. We only needed the blue. We needed this point about Shalaf Kobol Efkos to say that it's Rom Shabbat Levina. That's the reason why we brought down the brisa. But the brisa says some more, which the Gemara is going to go further. Here it says a case where she said, I'm not going to make your bed, I'm not going to pour wine for you, I'm not going to wash your face, hands and feet. Those are things that the wife is meshubah to do to the husband, and therefore in Sach Lafer, it doesn't have to be mefer because it's not a nether at all. She doesn't have the right to make such a nether. Okay, good. Gamliel says anyway be mefer. Yesterday we put this in parentheses, but now we're doing it with the Davar Achas parentheses. But Gamliel agrees that really it doesn't have to be mefer because she has no right to make such a nether. But Gamliel says anyway be mefer because so what does that mean? That's the aver that it says a person cannot profane his words. If he made a nether, he cannot go back on it. So what does Gamliel mean? So all the Mepharshim say, and that's Muchach in the Gemara, that even though you're right, I agree to you that she has no right to make such a nether, and it's really not doesn't take effect. If she says, I'm not going to pour wine for you, and she's supposed to, she's obligated to, according to the ksuba, so these things the husband or wife is obligated to do for the husband. But and therefore the net is not chal, but still be made for. Why? Because lo yachal devara. What does that mean? Because she's going to be mezalzel. If we're going to tell her, you made a neder, it doesn't make a difference, do it anyway. So she's going to get the impression that the Nedarim are not so severe, and she might transgress the Nedarim that do take effect. It's like a Gzeira D'Rabbanan.
So it's a Gzeira because she may come to profane by making a Gzeira later.
Real Nedarim. She'll make other Nedarim that do take effect, and she'll say, I made a neder and they told me it's okay. So this neder also is okay. So Rav Gamliel is not arguing on the essential then, that really you don't really have to be made for. But Mirabana, Rav Gamliel says yes to be made for. That was the brisa. Dav Rechad brought another drasha about lo yachal devara. That's not our subject now. We can't change mate neder nidri asmo. We'll put this in parentheses again, just to show that it's a parentheses. And that wasn't the point. Okay, so the more the more yesterday's more wanted the blue over here that Rav Gamliel says that lo yafchol v'lefkos is one should be no. Now the more is going on to a side point. Man Tana Hadatanya, who's the author of the following brisa? The Gemara is going to bring a brisa, and the point of the Gemara is to say Mari Rav Gamliel. That's what the Gemara is going to come up with in one line up from the bottom. The Gemara is going to bring a brisa. And based on the brisa that we just brought before, we're going to say the author must be Rav Gamliel. What does it say in the brisa? If there's something that's permissible to do, but there are some people that they conduct themselves in prohibition. So it's not so clear. I mean, I think it's not so clear in the words of the Gemara. Are they doing it because of a chumrah, or are they doing it because they're making a mistake? If there's something which is permissible and people are conducting themselves with prohibition, does that mean that they're doing it purposely, that they know that it's more time they want to make a minhag of chumrah, like we have many minhagim to be machmir, or does the words of the Gemara mean that they're making a mistake? There are people, there are things that are permissible, but there are some people that have a minhag to prohibit it. So I'm just thinking, they're saying the two possibilities will be that they know what they're doing, they know that it's permissible, but they have a minhag to be machmir. But I'd like to learn. Let me learn like that, some Rishonim, but I would like to present this for simplicity, that the words would be that they don't know that it's mutter, they think it's asa, they make a mistake. It's really mutter, but some people are conducting themselves as if it's asa. Give an example.
We can read Rabbi Gamliel into this right away.
What are you going to say? And we didn't say it.
We'll say to go ahead and Mayfair, which means like it's an Isser, what she said, even though it's nothing. But we're going to conduct ourselves as if it were an Isser, as a Gezerah. So I can already read in that he's like a Chayrim.
Not he's like a Chayrim. A Chayrim is people. A
Chayrim. Gamliel is like those people that do that. He's an example of what those people do.
No, again, that's the words mean. There are people. There's something which is permissible, and there are people that are making a mistake and hold that as us. That's an example the Gemara uses, not about this case exactly, that you have to take off challah from rice flour. So you don't have to, only the 5 grains. And there are people that they had a custom to take off challah from rice flour. So, for example, I don't want to be medayik in the example because there are complications with the example, but something which is really mutter, and people think that it's also. So now you want to tell them that there's no problem. You have to say, I want to say that's mutter. Am I allowed to show them and present to them and conduct myself in front of them that is permissible?
Nahagubahem means that they really think that it's.
There was nagudas means that they're acting as if it's us.
So I can see how Rabbi Gamliel is acting as if it's us.
Rav Gamliel is not a case. Rav Gamliel is a psak. You didn't say a psak yet. Say a psak. There's a case and a psak. Rav Gamliel is not a story. Rav Gamliel is a psak. Rav Gamliel said that the woman before who made a neder which does not take effect. Rav Gamliel says we'll tell her to be mefer because she might come to make a mistake. So you can't say Achayim is Rav Gamliel. Achayim is a case. Here it says in the psak now comes. Here goes the psak of Brisa. You wise men that know that it's permissible, you may not permit it in their presence in order to show that they're wrong. Because the pasuk says lo yachal devaro. Why does it have to do with lo yachal devaro?
I'm sorry, what's kedei levat?
In order to stop them, in order to nullify their custom. They have a custom to make a chumrah, and let's say they're making a mistake. I'm not throwing in the possibility they're making a mistake. And you are a big wise man, you want to come and say that it's mutter. Don't be so smart. don't come and show that it's mutter because it says lo yachal devaro.
Uh-huh.
That's the brisa.
Well,
we
that's
skip-
the Baruch is part of the Bryce.
The davar is also part of the brisa. Some take it out. It's not relevant to us, even if you are going to say this in parentheses, like same way it was before, as the brisa earlier. Take out the whole line if you want, or we can read it. It's not relevant to what lo yachal devaro. Mikan talmud chacham shein meifin nidri asma. Even a talmud chacham who's a yachad mumcha, and he could make hataros nedar, but he can't do his own hataros nedar. That's another lo yachal devaro. He should not make his words on his own. He should go to somebody else to be mataned. He shouldn't be mataned there himself. But that's not relevant to us. We can skip it. It's not even highlighted. But the Gemara wants from this brisa, who's the brisa? Ram Gamliel. Mani Ram Gamliel. Who's the author of the brisa? Ram Gamliel. Now we may ask, what does this have to do with Ram Gamliel? Ram Gamliel said before that if you made a neder which doesn't take effect, so even though minat did, you don't have to be made because it didn't take effect. But Ram Gamliel said Yopra because of layachal devaro, which means she shouldn't come to make a mistake and think that the neder are not important. If you're going to say, Mrs. So and so, you made a neder, forget about it, just do it. So she might learn that the dharma not so severe, and she'll make the dharma. So that was Ram Gamliel. Now we have a price here that says that if something that people are doing and it's really mutter, don't be moderate for them in order to stop them, in order to stop their custom, because it says lo yachal devaro. And the Gemara says that's Ram Gamliel. Do you see any connection?
Yeah,
What's the connection?
That's what he was trying to say from the beginning. I think.
Yeah, but till now we didn't have a psak. We only had a
Okay,
case
now
of
we have a
it.
psak.
Now we have a psak. The psak says don't permit it in front of it. Don't stop them from what they're doing.
because of his pasuk.
And what do you put it together? That's the connection. Because the pasuk says lo yachal devaro. So don't stop them from their prohibition that they made upon themselves. Go ahead. I don't mean to intimidate you. I mean to draw you on.
She made a neder, and it's really nothing. But don't say that it's nothing. Don't rebuttal it.
Be
Go
made
along
for
with
it.
it
Go along with it as if it's a
Because of
real
this pasuk. So that's what
so you want
going
him
along
also-
with it because of this pasuk.
that also they're making a mistake.
Yeah.
They're making a mistake. And really could just tell them forget about it. But don't do that because they're going to learn out that the Isurim are not so
Yeah.
important. Very nice.
The example that you gave about the rice.
Right,
flour,
okay.
that would have to be if they weren't going to make a bracha though.
There are other
Because
problems
they're-
with the gates. Yeah, okay, other problems
Like
also.
it's
So
so
take,
close, tell them.
okay, so
That's the
take,
case where
Yeah.
any other problem.
yeah. Okay, so take away all the problems, right? So I picked a bad case. But if they're doing something by mistake, and really it's mutter, don't tell them that's mutter. Don't tell them you're all a bunch of, don't tell them that you're allowed to do it anyway, because they're going to learn out to permit other things that
They'll
are,
mevatel it in a real case.
right.
This
that's
is
what I said.
mevatel, and they may mevatel it.
So that seems to be a nice, simple pshat in the Gemara. And just to point out that the Gemara before, that Tezvav, it says on the side over here, we also had this on Tezvav. On the 15 over there, the Gemara was looking for a loyach. The Gemara said, invented something in order to explain something that there's a loyachal d'Rabbanan. There's such a thing as loyachal d'Rabbanan. And the Gemara says, is there such a thing as loyachal d'Rabbanan? Loyachal is a deraisa. Loyachal d'Baro is the deraisa. Is there such a thing as loyachal d'Rabbanan? So the Gemara says yes, and it brings down this brisa. It says, this loyachal d'Baro, the Gemara says, Pasha, that doesn't mean that's the deraisa. It just means because you might come to loyachal d'Baro. Very similar to the way we learned that there's not really an issue over here. It doesn't even have to do with layachal devaro. It has to do with you might come to do the isser. And the application of Rabbi Gamliel was the case of Nedarim over here. You might come to do layachal devaro. And
a neder is deraisa.
And that is the right, but this is really not a neder. This is real. This case where the woman made a neder which doesn't take effect because Allah is obligated to do it for her husband. She has no right to make such a neder. It doesn't really take effect.
No, but the gezerah is lo yachal is in the future, isn't it?
The pasuk says one may not profane their neder. That's the issue to profane a neder. Someone made a neder. Where does it say you're not allowed to profane a neder? This is the pasuk. Lo yachel devaro, he shall not profane his word. Don't go against the neder.
Yafir is so that she doesn't profane her rabbanan.
Make believe that it's a neder. We tell the woman it was a neder. You made a neder. We have to undo it because you know. Not really. You don't have to undo it because the neder wasn't a neder. But it might come if you're just going to say ignore your neder. So she might ignore other nedarim also, and she'll come to transgress like yachal devaro. So this might be a simple way to read the Gemara. it comes out that there's, and the Gemara, both the Gemara seem to say a similar thing, that there's such a thing as lo yachal devara midrabanan, which means that even though with the rice it's not lo yachal devara, there's no real transgression of a neder, but it might come to it, so therefore we make zeros. And the Gemara on Tezvav brings this rice on the bottom to show there's a lo yachal devara, and very similar to what the Gemara says here by Rabbi Gamliel, and happens to be that's only Rabbi Gamliel. It's very strange that poskim do bring it down la halacha, even though our Gemara says only Rabbi Gamliel, and here we don't pass like Rabbi Gamliel. And so you see a little dollar over there. We don't pass like Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel said this chumrah that makes sure that you made for it anyway because she shouldn't make a mistake. And we don't pass like Rabbi Gamliel, but they do pass him like this Gemara on the bottom, even though the Gemara says that it's Rabbi Gamliel. So that's a problem. Also, another problem to throw in that the poskim, the Mefarshim don't learn like I said. They say that it's talking about that they know that it's mutter, and they're anyway having a chumrah. They mean to make a chumrah, not to make a mistake. They know what they're doing. They know that it's permissible, not that they made a mistake, not that they're ignorant. They know that it's mutter, like every chumrah that we do, that they know that it's mutter, and they made a chumrah, so don't go against their chumrah. As I don't know how to read it exactly. Like it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the Gemara before. Is there such a thing as making a minhag? If someone made a minhag, he knows that it's mutter and he's making a minhag of Isser. Is that not something which takes effect?
Maybe it's a davar and a people becomes like an ender.
So this, where is that source of that halacha? That's something which people did a minhag. You have to do a davar. This is it. this is way where everybody knows that if you did a minhag, you did something that minhag of, minhag, not a mitzvah. Nedarim mitzvah is a Nedarim mitzvah, but someone person had a minhag, like he started fasting on Mondays. He started
I just said this morning, the question was if somebody doesn't eat meat during the week and he only eats meat on Shabbos.
Why does he not? Well, for a chumrah, for a covered
He doesn't
Shabbos.
want to.
He doesn't want to because he doesn't like meat or cholesterol.
He has a minhag not to eat meat except on Shabbos.
Yeah, but I'm asking what I'm just asking what I'm not no conscious. What is the minhag? Is he coming because the doctor said cholesterol is why is he not eating meat during the week? Because of covered Shabbos. That's what you mean to say.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's not to have too much food during the
Some kind of fish.
Then the question
Some
was,
kind of,
does he have to ask the Rav
To be mataneder. Does he have to be mataneder? So what do you say? So if this Gemara is talking about that the Mator, we not eat meat, and he made an Isser on it, don't be matter it because if you read the Gemara like that, it says something about it. That someone made a chumrah. He made some kind of a chumrah. So you need you look at it like it's an eder. If you read the Gemara like that, so that's what it seems to say.
And then he would need to ask.
And might have to need Torah's Nedarim. If he made some kind of a good minhag, some kind of good minhag, maybe taking care of cholesterol is also a good minhag. And maybe you'd have to be mataneder. According to that, I first read the Gemara not like that at all. I said the case is that they're making a mistake. They think that it's usher, really it's mutter. So don't get them confused and say that it's mutter because then they're going to be matir tomorrow shatnas. They say this also. The Rav said that it's okay. It's okay. Take it light. So if that's then the Gemara makes sense that it's similar to Rabbi Gamliel's shash. That don't tell a woman that the ned is nothing because she might come to say other nedarim is nothing. So make it.
She really.
So the Gemara reads easier if you learn that there's a mistake happening over here. And we want to avoid the mistake, and that's why the Gemara puts them two together. And that's what the Gemara also says that it's lo yachal drabbanan. According to your reading, which we shown them to read like that it's talking about that they know that it's mutter and they're making a chumrah, some kind of a chumrah, and it says something about lo yachal drabbanan. I don't get the exact connection to the Gemara before. Why the Gemara sees Rabbi Gamliel over here? How does the Gemara see Rabbi Gamliel? The woman is a whole different case. It wasn't a chumrah. The case of Rabbi Gamliel was that she thought she made
really
an neder, and if we're going to tell her ignore it, she's going to learn how. Right. So I don't know how to read it. I don't know how to put it together. But they do have such a source of this Gemara. They bring that there's such a thing of a minhag, and now you have to be mataneder. Is that enough? I'm not sure. Is that's so? I'm saying that according to the first learned the Gemara, I don't know how to read it. But in Allah, it does say such a thing. There's such thing as a minhag, and that's what everybody knows.
You don't know how to read because they have give both ways. Or what?
Because what does it have to do with Rabbi Gamliel? If you say the case is, if this Bryce is talking about that someone knows something's mutter and they have a minhag, they're consciously making a minhag of Isser. So don't go against their minhag and be mevatel it because lo yachal devaro. What does that have to do with lo yachal devaro? I'm not sure that he's mechuyev to do his minhag because Layachal Devara, what does it have to do with Rabbi Gamliel? Rabbi Gamliel wasn't talking about such a case. But that's how they seem to be the Gemara. Let's point out the rush over here.
Over here also, we tell him not to allow them to do it without doing that to us in Dorim. Because
Why?
otherwise they can be matir other than Dorim.
So if okay, there's a mistake. Okay, if you learn, if Rabbi Nissan saying that the way they're going to learn is that this. How can we say that if he made a minhag not to eat meat, let's say during certain days, weekdays, he doesn't eat meat on weekdays because of a chumrah.
And for 3
So-
weeks he did that.
3 times.
3 weeks.
Why 3 weeks? I don't even know who says 3 weeks or 3 times. It says.
Well,
in it,
my
in it.
case was that I'm not gonna eat meat during the weekdays. So
Yes.
For 3 weekdays, 3
3
weeks of
weekdays.
weekdays.
Why 3 weeks?
You're not Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they didn't eat meat.
Oh,
His
it's
wife-
already.
His wife said,
done?
shall I make meat? He said, no, I don't eat meat during the week.
After 3 days.
Maybe even after 3 days. Who said even 3? I don't know. What's called a minhag? How much you need to make a minhag?
Okay.
The Agamar doesn't say.
I know some, also, I had to see 3 times. in my
Yeah, yeah, it
head.
says in that Toast of Dome. Lo Stacey, Shasisi Gimel Pomer, Bosh, Stacey, Shayadwin. That's what it says in Erev Rosh Hashanah,
Ah.
in the Toast of Dome.
Okay.
I'm sure, yeah, it probably says it. But here it doesn't say so far.
Okay.
So what's the connection in Agamara? That really, there's no such, I'm just saying, this is shot. Tell me if I'm quoting you right. That really, there's no such thing. You don't need a Toast of Dome for such a thing. But if he's gonna think that it isn't there, and you're gonna tell him, he's gonna come to the Rav says, it's fine, you don't have to do a Toast
But
of Dome.
something else that he did for 3 times.
So,
He'll also think that,
and maybe you
and
can,
maybe it's a real matter.
maybe he makes it not 3 times. 3 times we're saying is the mistake. That you think you did something good, a good
Oh.
thing 3 times, that it obligates you, it doesn't really obligate you. But if we're gonna tell you it doesn't obligate you, you're gonna make a nether and then ignore the nether also. That's
Oh,
how,
that's
I
cool.
think I got it right, that's how you read it. So it comes out that this famous thing, that a minhag needs a Taurus Nedarim, you know why?
Because maybe
Because they really don't, It's only a mistake, they don't come to make mistakes, which I think it takes a little bit the oomph out of how people think that a minhag becomes a nether. It doesn't become a nether, it's just a mistake. We want to avoid that people shouldn't make such a mistake and think that it's a something that became nullified, that became bottled. No, you need a Taurus Nedarim. Serious thing. You did something 3 times. It comes out that even according to this shot that the Rishonim learned, it's not real. It's only Rabbi Gamliel's chash that you might make a mistake next time and be matir and isser. And the question comes that the Gemara says, "Perish Rabbi Gamliel." So why are we passing like it? We don't pass like Rabbi Gamliel. So I'm stuck in a few different avenues. I'm stuck.
uh-huh.
But that's what they bring the sugya over here as far as minhag, that you need a Taurus Nedarim on a minhag. This is the sugya that they bring.
Wow.
So
Okay, so
just
we're makpid on lo yachal,
very much to stay away
Very
from the
much.
Yachal Devara. In fact, we don't make the Dharm at all. We don't even make the Dharm because here we don't. And in this, the way place that he spoke was this case here about if she made a nether and thinks that she has no right to make a nether. Here's the Dalit over there. That I think that's what it says over there. Ain't Soch that's going to be over here. Brings the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch, both of them. And I think that's what it says over there. I mean, we should look it up.
But that's not minhag.
No, but
That's
this is
not
but the Gemara says that this brisa is Rav Gamliel. Here says Rav Gamliel says Yafa, and here the Gemara says this brisa Mani Rav Gamliel. Okay, so we don't pass like Rav Gamliel.
We don't pass it at this point. At this point, we do.
So then we shouldn't say that it's not Rav Gamliel. You're saying that even not according to Rav Gamliel, the Gemara doesn't see it. The Gemara says only Rav Gamliel will say such a thing. I'm going to pass like Rav Gamliel. So why are we not good on this? If I didn't get to the bottom of it, I don't know. Okay, but I was very, very interesting that this is the source of the famous minig that's also. This is what they bring this tomorrow. That the minig makes you have to do a Taurus Nedarim. Very, very fascinating.
Very
Okay,
interesting. Because when my wife was sick, we couldn't make Pesach at home. So we went to, in the hotel that we wanted to go to, it's called, they served the brachs. And my whole life, whatever I did,
you're not going to go.
brachs. And I called up somebody and he said, you can eat brachs and you don't even have to be matanet. Just for that, you don't even have to be matanet.
I heard that from the Yashivos.
That was
But I heard it from Rav Nebenzahl,
Yeah.
and it wasn't because of any just to change the minhag. Someone that didn't eat brachs, was family, and then he decides he wants to. So he says that he said in the name of Shlomo Zalman that it's a minhag that the whole is very extreme. that the whole minhag of not eating gebrocks is a minhag. Minhag is a mistake.
Minhag ta'ut.
Yeah, like it's not. The Chassidim take it very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
The Chassidim take the minhag of gebrocks very, very. Kalim and
How do you explain it to make toys? Because
there's no chash. There's no chash on that there's going to be anything.
for the
That's,
nicer people.
Rebbe,
yes, Chaim David.
Yeah, he's gonna start it.
yeah, fish and cheese. Is that a minhag or is that
I
something
think
halachic?
also that there's no minhag at all. The Sfaradim, I think, have such a minhag, not eat milk, fish and cheese. I think that the Joseph talks about it, but they say that it was the Joseph had a mistaken girsa,
Right,
and
that's
there's no issue about milk and fish.
And that's American minute. We eat cream cheese and lox.
That's right.
That's
right.
Gebrocks means shuya. Martin was
Okay, thank you so much.
Nothing to do with kittens. It's
No,
not-
no.
It's shriya.
Okay, how does it come in? Oh, because of minhag. So the whole thing about a minhag, and that's even a minhag of, that's a minhag, that's a more serious minhag than just not eating meat. Someone makes a
No,
minhag.
I thought there was a thing about that there could be some flour that didn't get cooked.
Right, so that's what they're saying, that is a mistake, that there's no chash, especially in our matzahs. Our matzahs,
Yeah.
they say that's so thin and there's no real chash at all.
But so they're just keeping up a minhag for the
I
whole.
don't know this the background of this, but that's saying that Shlomo, never saw that name of Shlomo Zalman, you don't need to tell us,
So if
you
this
want to
person
change your
for
minhag,
3
you don't have.
weeks didn't eat meat during the week, and yet you have to matter nether.
That's what they seem to say from the, as with the Shulchan Aruch, it's in your.
Well, let's say he didn't say anything. He just
He did it
tried to
3
be a
times
good-
and he didn't say Rina then. But he just doesn't want to, he didn't eat meat with meat.
No, he didn't take it on as a minute. He said, "Oh, it's a nice thing to do this."
But he did it 3 times. He didn't say Rina there. He did it 3 times. He didn't, that's
Yeah,
what he's
but I
saying
don't know
on
if he
Thursday
did it
night.
before Kabbalah.
That's what they're saying, that 3 times. That's what they're saying.
It's
It's
why
such a
he
minute.
asked what he wants to supper. He says fish 3 times, but he didn't say that from now
No,
on
but
only
why-
having meat,
why?
fish in the weekday.
I don't know the details, but it seems that there's something to do with a minute over here. This is in Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, Reish Yud Aleph, and it's Dvarim Mutarim, and they know that it's mutar. Right, not like I started saying. I started saying that the Gemara might mean that he made a
Yeah,
mistake.
that's
He
the
thought
way
that
the
it's
first
us.
guy was.
But
And they know
now
that
they,
it's
you know
mutar.
that it's mutter, and they still do an issa. That's as if they accepted upon themselves as a neder, and it's usher, and it's usher to say that, and it's usher.
Don't look-
Therefore, somebody that has a minhag to fast before Rosh Hashanah or during a Sesame Shuvah, or somebody that doesn't eat meat or drink wine from Rosh Chodesh Av or from Shavas B'Tammuz, and he wants to retract because he's not healthy, can't do it. So he needs to be mataneh.
Is that the way, is that the halacha?
I mean the Shulchan Aruch. And if at the time that he started, he meant to do so forever, and he did so even one time, he needs a Torah's Nedarim. And therefore, if somebody wants to make some kind of a minhag on something that's mutter, to do some kind of a abstinence, he should say in the beginning of his custom, he's doing it b'li neder.
What if he didn't? Right now, it turns out that we had a medical professional.
It's okay, one more line
Okay,
before,
one more
and but people who did chumrah because they thought that it's aser, not because the cases that they know that it's mutter and they're doing it for chumrah, for abstinence. So then it becomes a minhag, and you have to be mataneder. But if they thought that it's aser and they made a mistake, then they don't have to be mataneder. Okay, yes, please.
We haven't been eating meat because for convenience and health reasons. And a bunch of
Okay,
different-
so the convenience surely is not considered a chumrah for the health reasons.
It might be
Probably,
Shmata and
probably,
It was
probably
more
they're going to
conven-
say
no, it
that
was
it's
more convenience.
so. That's not a minute.
And also, I mean, like as a joke, I say, people say you don't eat meat, not even on Shabbos. I say no, only on the Chagim and the barbecue on Matzah. So
What about ice cream?
all the time,
Ah,
even
all right.
even in the
Then-
winter,
then-
even in
then
the
not
winter.
eating meat is not ice cream.
So
Yeah.
now a medical professional told us that it's healthy, it'd be good for us to eat meat once in a while. And right today, for dinner, we're gonna have chopped liver.
Oh,
Do we have to make a netter?
So he didn't do it for chumrah, he did it for convenience.
We did it
What's
for-
that? But health is not
Also, we have-
considered.
So I'm
It's
not,
not-
and probably that mamish depends on what
He said
the,
schmaltz.
that's a mistake.
Really
It'll be- in
should-
that case, it'll be like a mistake. this is the case that they thought not to do it
No,
because.
but if you
there's
have,
no
it every
response.
night- if you have a lot, if you have once a week, it's healthy. If you have it every night, it's not healthy.
Okay, that, okay,
Right.
but this I don't know, but the case that,
Asking himself, Avraham Hazek, he's eating ice cream, so it's not really. That's not. That's not too much. Yes.
No.
Okay,
I'm good. I
so,
gotta go
uh,
upset.
That's a good one.
the reason I'm taking a lot of time is because I don't have too much more to say.
Good.
That,
Because we're ahead, we don't want to be ahead.
no, not ahead. Today's,
Not ahead.
today's, we didn't even start today's daf yet.
Oh, we didn't
We
start.
didn't start, oh, so this was yesterday.
Yes,
So this
yesterday.
question that I had, it came up from the
Ah,
doctor's.
yes, yesterday.
We're gonna fall behind.
And I like that, that's what I like when
Take our time.
when I can like look at it before. I point to this, it has nothing to do with this. but-
Okay, next Gemara. So we had a machlokas so far about washing and adorning herself. That's Rechitza Vakisha, that according to Rabbanan in a nefesh, according to the self-affliction, according to Rabbi Yossi, it's not. And the Gemara has figured out that even though it's not self-affliction, but it is considered something that has to do with the husband, and he would be able to suspend her neder as long as it's relevant to him. And we got some other extra credit on the side about Menhogim. One line up. If she's going to prohibit her on herself marital relations, so surely it's something which concerns the husband. And even that's what the Bryce said before. Let's go back to the blue over here. We brought down the blue, we brought it down for the low ekra below ifres. But it also got a case of shlo hashamish mitasi. It also had a case that she asked her marital relations on herself. And over there, Rabbi Yossi himself said that it's not ina nefesh, it's not self-affliction, but it is dvam shebeno l'beina, which that's not a question. Of course, it affects the husband. But will Rabbanan, who say that washing is not washing or not adorning herself is considered self-affliction, what will they say about not having marital relations? Is that also called self-affliction according to Rabbanan? This Bryce is Rabbi Yossi, and he holds that it's not self-affliction. But the Rabbanan, who argue on Rabbi Yossi, what do they hold? What are they-
I lost the question. What's the
A
question?
woman abstaining from marital relations, is that called self-affliction? We had so far that not to eat certain foods is called self-affliction, and there's machlokas about not washing and about not adorning herself. Machlokas about that. And now we want to know, Tashmish Hamita, Rabbi Yossi says that it's not considered self-affliction, but of course it's something which is relevant to the husband, and no one questions that. But the question is, do Rabbanan argue? What will the Rabbanan say about Tashmish Hamita? In the Mishnah, that spoke about washing and kishut. And they say that's called self-affliction. Holding yourself back from makeup, holding yourself back from washing, that's considered self-affliction. How about holding yourself back from marital relations? Is that called self-affliction? That's the bottom line. Rabbi asked Rav Nachman, why Rabbanan hold about Tashmish Hamita? Amalei. So Rav Nachman said, have a Mishnah. Tenisua, this is the last Mishnah in Maseches Nedarim. Netula ani v'na Yehudim. I don't know why he uses such an expression, but she means to say that I am not going to have relations, no marital relations. And the way to say that is that I have nothing to do with the whole Jewish nation. She asked herself, I don't know why she used those words, but that's how she expressed herself, that I am not going to have marital relations with anybody. So what does the husband do about that? He's the husband. So it says in the Mishnah, so he's mefer, he has the power to be mefer, but only what's relevant to him. And then she may have relations with him. Or she could be mishamish with him. She could have relations with him because he was mefer. But she is also to everybody else, which means that eventually, if he divorces her or he dies, whatever the case will be, and she marries somebody else, so then the neder does take effect, which we said that's called dvam shebeino lebeino. We had two kinds of nedarim. In a nefesh, he has the right to nullify completely, and it disappears, is not there for nobody. But if it's dvam shebeino lebeino, he only has the right to suspend it, whatever is relevant to him. But whatever is relative to somebody else, he cannot. And here it says that neder that she made on Tashmish Hamita does take effect. It doesn't take effect. It doesn't take effect as far as it takes effect because she did it shasser herself. She didn't answer him, so she has the right to do that. But then he has the right to be made for that because it's dvam shebeino lebeino, something which affects him. But it does take effect when it's relevant to somebody else, which means that it's not considered in a nefesh. Don't you have a proof from here that it's not considered in a nefesh? If you say that's in a nefesh, then she should not be also any other Jews because he was made for it. It's considered in a nefesh. can you not have a proof from here that it's only consider something which is between them, but not something which is considered a self-affliction?
That means also to the Rabbanan.
Right.
Rabbi Yossi, we knew it was that.
Of Yossi we knew, and now the Gemara is saying that this
This is
Mishnah
also. for
will
the-
say that it's Rabbanan.
Okay,
And right away the Gemara says what Lev Yaakov started saying. Who says? Who says that's Rabbanan? Maybe it's Rabbi Yossi. Means
oh,
you already spoke out that Rabbi Yossi we know. The question was according to Rabbanan. So why does the Gemara see? So what do you see?
maybe this Bryce is.
Maybe this Mishnah is a Mishnah.
Oh, this
Maybe the
Mishnah is
Mishnah, maybe
also-
the Mishnah is Rabbi Yossi. And the Gemara goes even a little stronger, much stronger than I'm saying. Not only maybe it's Rabbi Yossi, the Gemara is going to say that the rest of the Masechta, the rest of the Masechta,
Right.
This is the last paragraph. Where's the last paragraph?
Yeah.
The rest of the Masechta is Rabbi Yossi. So therefore, it's mamish not approved because the subject, the question is not according to Rabbi Yossi. According to Rabbi Yossi, we knew. Rabbi Yossi says in this brisa, he said openly
He said it.
that makeup and tashmish is not called the nefesh. But one no contra Rabbanan. So you can't prove on the Rabbanan. The answer is that's what the Gemara says here on the fourth line. The Rabbanan tiboy love. I'm asking contra Rabbanan. The question is being asked contra Rabbanan. So he didn't answer. Mishum denatula nimina Yehudim Rabbi Yossi Kitani. But the mission you brought is Rabbi Yossi talking. Not only the Gemara could have said anyway, maybe it's Rabbi Yossi. Like I started saying, maybe it's Rabbi Yossi. But the Gemara says more than that. It is Rabbi Yossi. So you surely don't know what Rabbanan know. Rav Huna, Kulei Pirk and Rabbi Yossi. Rav Huna has a dik in the Mishnah to say that the whole rest of the parak is Rabbi Yossi talking. And how do you see that? Mimai? Because in the first Mishnah, they had machlokes about inu nefesh, if washing and kishut is inu nefesh or not. And over there it says Rabbi Yossi Yanki says that it's not. And it says 2 times Rabbi Yossi says that it's not. Given the Ketani Rabbi Yossi in inu nefesh. The Mishnah says 2 times. Rabbi Yossi say that washing and kishut is in nefesh. Rabbi Yossi says it's not. And then it goes on to say that what is in nefesh, and it gives an example of not eating a certain food. And then it ends off. Rabbi Yossi. Why does the Mishnah end off? Rabbi Yossi. Why does it say again? This redundancy of the Mishnah that says Rabbi Yossi is talking is saying the rest of the parak is all Rabbi Yossi talking. So this Mishnah that we quoted about Natula Nimina Yudim is the end of the Mishnah, end of the parak, and it's still Rabbi Yossi talking. So you have no answer to the question. So the question we asked, according to Rabbanan, is holding back from marital relations. Is that considered a self-affliction or not? The Gemara doesn't know. We leave it as a question. We don't know. And the nafkamina will be: is he allowed to be made for indefinitely or not? He surely could be made for because it affects him. And as long as it's relevant to him, she's mutter to Tashmish Shamita. The question is, if it's going to be relevant to somebody else, if he's going to die or divorce her and she marries somebody else, is that ned to take effect? Or was he made for it already? Because it's considered inu nefesh. So we don't know. We don't know if the holding back from marital relations is considered inu nefesh or not. New Gemara, Amar Shmuel, Mishmei Delevi. Kol Nedarim Baal Mefer Lishton. Husband Anasi Al Ploni Shena Mefer. A husband can nullify all the Nedarim of his wife, which is considered inu nefesh, except for Hanasi al Ploni. If she asks her benefit on somebody, that has nothing to do with inu nefesh. Has nothing to do with Varmisha Beinola Beina. She doesn't let somebody else. She's angry at a neighbor or something like that, and she says, "I ask her, the neighbor, to benefit from me. I am hereby a korban on my neighbor. I'm usher. I'm not allowed. She's not allowed to benefit. That doesn't. The husband can't stop that because it doesn't. It's not even. Doesn't afflict her. She doesn't have any affliction from not benefiting somebody.
It doesn't afflict her, and it doesn't have
And
anything to do with
nothing to do with him.
Mhm.
But Anas Ploni Align made for that's the main chiddush of Shmuel, Shmuel, the name of Levi. Anas Ploni Align made for that if she asked herself to benefit from a certain person, not her husband, she asked herself to benefit from a certain person, from her neighbor. I'm not going to benefit from her. I asked myself to benefit from that neighbor. So then the husband could stop it.
For both reasons, right?
What does both reasons mean?
It also affects him. And
First of all,
we-
if it's affliction, then
Then it
you
doesn't
stop
matter.
over there. So is it called? It's called self-affliction. Why is it self-affliction? That she can benefit from somebody. She might need him, and she won't be able to. And she won't be able to benefit from him. That's called self-affliction. Could be. That's a small
potential benefit.
Yeah, that's what it seems
Uttering
to.
a potential benefit is considered an affliction. You know, you say,
Here's the Here, the inu nefesh, the Rush explains Agamar, and has plenty of like Mayfair. Why the inu nefesh? It is considered self-afflicting. Shema to stand mimenu. She might need
She
it.
might need it. Once
She might need it, and she
needs it,
can.
and now she can. So
So
then
that's rules. That's Levi's chiddush. That's somebody that she might need eventually. If she asks her her husband can nullify it permanently because it's a city inu nefesh.
Because the suffix. She might
Need
for the
it.
potential. Potential.
It might be, it might turn out to be an efficacy.
Mhm. So already he could be made because it has ramifications.
Or maybe it's already a stress that I know that I could borrow from my neighbor. I'm stuck without coffee. I'll borrow from my neighbor, give back the next day.
Mhm.
If I know I can't borrow from my neighbors, I'm already a little stressed out. No? I mean,
So,
it's not
but
that-
I see that the issue is that if it's not what being done, I'm saying that maybe it is considered in the nefesh now, but you have to have that. It should be right now self-afflicting or not. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it seems to me like the Hiddish is that it's a potential. There is no
Okay.
inu nefesh.
No, but it could come to it. Okay, so that was Levi's
Does it have pas besalo?
takes away the paspasala. That's what Ram said.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
And pas is in the nefesh.
a pass. You mean even the mushal of the pass. Okay, so that seems to be Levi's chiddush that not benefiting from somebody since they're in it. So more is conscious on that from our Mishnah. It means the reason why the more brings it down is because the conscious are going to be from our Mishnah, and the Mishnah spoke about not eating is definitely in nefesh. Even Rabbi Yossi, who said that not washing and not kishut is not considered self-affliction, but not eating peros medina, peros olam, and the Gemara, the Mishnah has a few things about peros. Peros olam surely, and it means from any kind of place, any world, any in the world. How about peros medina zu alai? So let's to recall the Mishnah again. It says in the Mishnah, maybe I'll highlight the whole part of the Mishnah, whatever is in the Mishnah. First, I didn't do that. It says in the Mishnah, Peres Medina zu alai, Yavi lam Medina acheres.
Mhm.
Peros chanveni ze alai, ein yachol haper. La'isa parnasas el mimenu, harei yaper. Well, that's the Mishnah. So let's go over the Mishnah again. That if she asked it from a certain country, so then it's not considered self-afflicting, and he should bring for her from a different place. She asked it from a certain place, a certain country, so he could bring her from a different country, and it does take effect. He cannot be made for the neder. But if she said Peres Chenveni Ze Alai, also Ein Yachol Haper, if she asked her the food of a certain storekeeper, also it's not considered Inu Nefesh or Dvam Sheben Olavena. He doesn't have the right to nullify because he can go to another store. Same, we go to a different country, go to a different store also. If he only can benefit from that store, like the Mepharshim say, they don't give him credit, only this store gives him credit, so then it does affect him and he can be made for it. That's how they learn Pshat in the Mishnah. That's all. That's the highlight of the Mishnah.
Yeah.
And Anakim was going to go through these three Mishnayos to ask if there's any conscience from here on what Levi said. Levi said, Ploni Allah Yofer. She asked it somebody on him, even though many other people in the world. But Ploni can't benefit from Ploni. That's called self-afflicting. Maybe it'll have ramifications one day. He won't be able to benefit. So the more starts. Tan. Peres Medina Zu Allah Yofer Medina Acheres. That not to bring from a certain country is not considered self-afflicted because you go to a different country. So that's how much against Levi. Levi said even one person is considered affliction. You might need him. So maybe I can't get from a different Medina. So
Where was Levi?
Levi is this. Levi's the one who said this. He's the one who said the yellow. Amish made the Levi.
Oh,
I know
okay.
it's plenty of line made.
Uh-huh.
So the Kash is, the Mishnah says that even answering a whole country is not considered self-afflicted. You go to a different country. I'm not sure if Medina means a country or a county. Sometimes it means even less than a city. But whatever Medina means, you see that even answering a Medina is not considered self-afflicting. How could you say that one person is considered self-afflicting?
Mhm.
On Rav Joseph, the Kamra Shetavi, she didn't answer all those food. Of course, to answer the food of a certain Medina, for sure, that's self-afflicting, like Levi's right. Here, she said, I'm answering all so I don't want any, I'm asking myself all the food you bring from America. But she didn't ask her all the food in America. She asked her the food that you bring from America. So she didn't ask her the food over there. And if someone else is going to bring from America, so she could benefit from it. So it's not against Levi. Levi said that it's only considered self-afflicting if she asked the person. in all ways. No, you can't get it from him. So here, if she lost to the country, surely it would be self-afflicting. But she made a clause, only the things that you bring from that country. So someone else could bring it. So that's not going against Levi's statement.
So, and
There's a
he
kasha
said
with it
Eino
there.
Mayfair.
He said Mayfair. Levi said Mayfair. Unless plenty a lie, Levi said he's allowed to be Mayfair. It's called self-afflicting. Even holding back from one person's benefit is considered self-afflicting. And here it says that a whole country is not considered self-afflicting. Even holding yourself back from a whole country is not self-afflicting. The answer is only when she said that you bring from that country, then it's not considered self-afflicting because she can get those payers from somebody else. Even though he's going to come back with presents from America, she cannot use it. But if somebody else will bring her those presents from America, she could use it.
I see. Okay.
So this is the answer. I'm trying to highlight the answer. The answer is Shetavi. That she said, Harris Medina Zualai, Shetavi. You're gonna bring from that country. Then he can't get from that country. Other people could, but he cannot, only from a different country. Next kasha, Tashma. Harris Also, the Mishnah says that if she asks at a certain store, also he cannot nullify it because it's not considered self-afflicting. And Levi said that even one person, he's a person, the Chenveni is a person. So if answering a person on her is considered self-afflicting, so surely answering a storekeeper on her is self-afflicting. And what says the same there? It's again. Same as before, that she said, if you cannot bring from the store, I can get from the store. But if you bring from the store, then it's going to be usher to me. So it's also, she didn't answer the store completely. But the Gemara says now it doesn't work. The Mishnah continues and says, by the case of the store, if that's the only store available, so then it does affect it. Then it is an affliction. That's the Mishnah that ends off by the storekeeper, even though in general, answering from the storekeeper is not considered self-afflicting, but if there's no other way that he can get food for her, then it is. Here you can't say that it's talking about that she said that you're going to bring, because even so, it's not considered. Why should it be? If she can get food from that store through somebody else, it also is not considered self-afflicting. So that shows that all these taviyatas is wrong. Element to say for the low maisi bal, having ratio to come maisi. If we show from the last case, we're talking about where she's getting it, not that he's getting it. She can still go to the store. So what's the problem? So all these cases are talking about that she wants to get it, and it says that it's usher. See, she didn't say erase all the tavis. We just now showed that the tavis are not true. This is not true. This is not true. So the whole case is, or this case of the Chenveni is usher even if she goes to pick it up. Not only that he's going to bring, even if she wants to go to the store, she cannot. And you see that it's not considered self-afflicting. And Levi said that it is self-afflicting. That's the kasha. Ella, new teretz. You're right. Reisha, ein yachal afer the. You're right that the reisha that says that it's not considered self-afflicting is even though she could get it, I'm sorry. Ein yachal afer the kamaisi means to bring. Who's bringing it? Like Tavi. Who's bringing it? That first we said it's only usher if he's going to bring it. No, the case is that she's going to bring it. And still, it's not considered self-afflicting. She can't go to the store, and it's not considered self-affliction. And that's against Levi. We're still in the kasha. We turn the page and we get the answer. Masnis Rabbi Yossi. That's we know Rabbi Yossi holds that not everything is self-afflicting the way the Rabbanan hold. So you did prove that Rabbi Yossi holds, like you said, all the Mishnah says Rabbi Yossi talking. We said it already. We just finished saying that all these Mishnahs are Rabbi Yossi. So it's true. Rabbi Yossi holds that not being able to eat from a certain store is not called self-affliction. But Shmuel meant to pass like the Rabbanan, and he says the Rabbanan will say that it is self-afflicting. There are going to be many machlokes in Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan. So just because you prove the Mishnah says that not taking from a certain store is not self-afflicting, you're right. Rabbi Yossi is self-afflicting, is not self-afflicting. You're right. Rabbi Yossi holds like that, but we don't know according to Rabbanan. And Shmuel, in the name of Levi, said that even answering one person is also called self-afflicting. The Gemara has a couple of more words. It says here that even though it says that the case of the Mishnah seems to say, this Mishnah, it seems to say that it's not any yachal, which the Pasha says that it's not self-afflicting and it can't be made for at all. But the Gemara says it doesn't say it can't be made for at all. It says any yachal. But that doesn't mean that it's not dvarim shebeino lebeino. So what does the Gemara want with that? the Gemara says that even though not taken from a certain person or from a certain store or a certain country is not self-afflicting, it still might be called Dvar Shebeino Lebeino. What's my one with that? The one is saying that the Rabbanan will hold that it is self-affliction. The Yossi says that it's not. So the Rosh says that there's a question I learned more over here. The Rosh says that it's a new teretz, means it's like ba'od, two possible teretzim. One teretz is it's Rabbi Yossi, and by the contrary, Rabbanan, it's even self-afflicting. The other teretz is that you're right. We could say that even if the Mishnah would be the Rabbanan, they just mean to say the Mishnah just says that it's not self-afflicting, but it still might be something that has to do with him. And if it affects him, he may be Mayfair, and maybe that's all Shmuel meant to say. When
Because he
Shmuel,
can't get her food unless it's from that store.
so why is it called Vam Shebeino Lebeina?
Because it affects him, because he can't get her food. from that
So
store.
he has to go someplace else.
Yes, and they don't, doesn't credit sometimes.
I thought the Mepharshim talk about Hagdar. What is it called? Vam Shebeino Lebeina, that it causes animosity between them. So the fact maybe that's the point, that since he has to go someplace else and he's bothered by her now that he can't get food in the regular store, so that's enough to be considered animosity, even though she could pick it up, but it's still called Vam Shebeino Lebeina. So according to that, I'm not sure, but according to that pshat, the Gemara is saying another teretz that even the Rabbanan Shmuel maybe only meant that Tanos Ploni Alai Mayfair, unless I'm not sure about it already. Here they say, I'm stuck over here. What is Mayfair? When Tanos Ploni Alai still is not to do with the Dvar Shebeino Lebeina, that she can't benefit from somebody, it doesn't have anything to do with the husband. So here, when Shmuel said Mayfair, Levi, surely it meant that it's called self-affliction. Now, what the Gemara think this Mishnah says? The Gemara thought that this Mishnah says that it's not self-affliction. So here I'm stuck. Here I'm not getting clarity. I'll have to come back tomorrow again on this piece. What the second line of the Gemara was that it's Dvar Shebeino Lebeina, not clear yet. So
Can you translate again from Uma? Uma in your Ula affair.
the words alone, I didn't even read it.
Question mark.
What
You
do
read it
these
also,
words
I
mean? It
think.
says in the Mishnah, you know what that means? That only means that it's not considered self-afflicting, that they should be able to be made for as if it would be self-afflicting. But he may be made for it as being something which has to do with him. That's the translation, but I don't get the pshat yet. So I hope tomorrow will be better. So at least we got to what?
That's only about any Yachal.
Ein Yachal Hafer where? Ein Yachal Hafer was the Ein Chenveni. Chenveni says Ein Yachal Hafer, right? That was the kasha. Shmuel Levi, you say that this aser somebody is considered self-afflicting. The Mishnah says Ein Yachal Hafer. So let's say Ein Yachal Hafer just means that it's not self-afflicting. It's already against Levi. Levi said it is self-afflicting. How could you reconcile Levi's statement and this Mishnah? If it says that a store is not Ein Yachal Hafer, and Levi said that Tanas Plon Yalai is Mayfair, what are you going to say? That Mayfair means Vam Shebeino Lebeina, and Ein Yachal Hafer means that it's not self-afflicting. Both of them hold the same thing. It's not self-afflicting, but it is called Vam Shebeino Lebeina. That's how you want to answer.
Yeah, but he can get her fruits from someone else, so she's not afflicted.
Right, and
If she
when,
gives somewhere else.
but what Levi said, Tanas Plon Yalai is Mayfair. How could he be Mayfair over there? Vam Shebeino Lebeina. Doesn't sound like that, because what does he get affected if she can benefit from if she can benefit from somebody? By a storekeeper, you can understand that affects him, but Plon Yalai, what does it have to do with him? So the first we'll talk about it, but I didn't get clarity yet. So we'll try to get back to the second terrace tomorrow.
Sure.
Yashikov, thank you, everybody. This is I have the opportunity to say I don't know very often, and everybody's okay with it. I appreciate it.